So we just got hit with a huge NFL draft bombshell. I'm not going to take a victory lap on this, even though yesterday I did come out and say I thought Jalen Carter was going to be a major bust. Today we get word that there is an arrest warrant issued for Jalen Carter for a reckless driving incident that involved racing and involved the death of a teammate and a staffer back on January 15th, which was, I believe, about a week after the Georgia national title win. So this is huge stuff. This is being investigated, and it is obviously, a really, really, really bad situation. Todd McShay right now, after calling out Jalen Carter's character issues a month ago. Yeah, shout out to Todd McShay, who just got so much hate from Georgia fans. I'm sure they called him racist. They called him whatever for saying, listen, I've heard things. There's character concerns. They call him out. And then this bombshell drops. The investigation found that LaCroix and Jalen Carter were operating their vehicles in a manner consistent with racing shortly after leaving Athens at around 2:30 a.m. And I'm not going to speculate on how this affects the draft stock, but could this be a situation where a team, quote unquote, takes a chance? How much does this we're going to have to let this play out and see what happens. But obviously, an arrest warrant is a real bad situation for a player who could be a top 5 overall pick. Let's let the legal stuff play out. Let's not speculate. But remember, this is the NFL. Jalen Carter, even though I was someone that said I think he's a little overrated, if a team can get him at a quote-unquote discount, these teams are probably foaming at the mouth, guys. They probably are. Imagine getting Jalen Carter late in the first round, early in the second round. So this is a situation that will have to play out, and we will see what happens when it comes to that. Report: DeAndre Hopkins prefers to be traded to Cleveland with his former QB Deshaun Watson. Yeah, the Browns certainly need to upgrade their wide receiver core. There's no question about that. Amari Cooper at this point in his career, he's a solid number 2 receiver, but he's not number 1. DeAndre Hopkins to the Browns doesn't make a ton of sense because of the Browns cap situation. But honestly, guys, I am someone, you hear that people say it all the time, salary cap doesn't exist in the NFL because it's just completely manipulated, and I'm starting to believe that. I've just seen too many contracts be manipulated and be turned into signing bonus money, which clears salary cap space. I don't know, but DeAndre Hopkins does not have a good contract. He's got $31 million against the cap this upcoming season, so it would be surprising to see the Browns take that on. They do have a major cap hit with Deshaun Watson, but funny enough, we are expecting the Browns to manipulate Deshaun Watson's contract to where right now I think the numbers on the Deshaun Watson salary cap hit are like $55 million, which is going to get brought way down when it gets converted to signing bonus money. How did Russell Wilson get to be so hated? So this is kind of something that's been going around with the NFL, and I really don't think Russell Wilson is hated. I just think people are angry because he comes off as a fake person, and it's almost like he tries to show something to the general public that he's not. It's just more of like a fakeness thing. I really don't think people hate Russell Wilson. At least that's just my kind of vibe on it. This is like the 3rd or 4th article I've seen because there's been some stuff that's come out about Russell Wilson that's not good. But I don't think I don't think he's hated by NFL fans very much. Released. The Buccaneers are releasing Leonard Fournette. The report is Leonard Fournette requested this. And guys, I think Leonard Fournette in the right system not getting 20 touches a game, he could be a very, very valuable piece for a team, depending on what he wants to sign for. Let's talk about a team like the Cincinnati Bengals, who might have to release Joe Mixon to save money there. Could Leonard Fournette maybe take a smaller deal with a team like Cincinnati after he gets released? I still like Leonard Fournette, even though he had a very bad year last year. A lot of that was Tampa Bay's offensive line being banged up. Leonard Fournette, surprisingly enough, he's actually developed as a pretty good pass catcher. So, guys, I think Leonard Fournette has at 1 or 2 solid years left as a legitimate running back, but we do know running backs, they age in dog years. I mean, these guys at age 28, 29, it's almost like they're washed. It's crazy. Mike Robb wants the Seahawks to draft. Who is Mike Robb? He says he wants the Seahawks to draft a QB. Listen. Absolutely. Seattle cannot be hamstrung by Geno Smith producing the first elite year of his career. Like, Geno Smith at this point, you can't trust him to be a top 10 quarterback year in and year out and give him this crazy long-term deal. So if you're Seattle and you see a quarterback that you like and you're drafting within the top 5 or top 6, yes, pick a quarterback. Geno Smith is not your future for the next decade. He's not your franchise quarterback. He had a really good year, but I think Geno Smith is one of the most unique situations we've seen in the NFL in recent memory. This was a guy that was left for dead multiple times. His career was over. He was a backup. He was in a QB battle with Drew Lock that a lot of people thought Drew Lock would win, and then when Drew Lock didn't win it, they thought Geno Smith would be replaced with Drew Lock by like week 5 or week 6. So, I don't know if you can count on Geno Smith to be your franchise quarterback over the next 4 years. Multiple teams are interested in trading for Brandon Cooks. This is something that should have happened a year or 2 years ago. If you guys remember, the Brandon Cooks timeline, I mean, he's wanted to be traded for a while now. It's very clear the Texans were not trying to compete this past year. They were purely tanking by starting Davis Mills. They wanted a top 3 pick. They're going to be getting their franchise quarterback. And now they want to trade Brandon Cooks when he's older and he has, depreciated a little bit in terms of overall value. But I think the New England Patriots could be a team to watch for Brandon Cooks if they do decide to let Jacoby Myers go. He plays the game the right way. He is not a drama queen receiver. He just, the only reason he wanted to be traded was because he's getting up there in terms of age and he wants to play for a winner and he knows the Texans were trying to lose. And I don't have anything against the Texans trying to lose, right? That's a strategy to get a franchise quarterback. I understand that. But if you're Brandon Cooks and you're getting up there in age, there's no reason to waste your career and take hits on a team that is just not serious. NFL rumors. NFL teams have USC QB Caleb Williams and UNC QB Drake May ranked above all the 2023 class. Absolutely, that is correct. Very, very likely Caleb Williams will be the number 1 overall pick next year. Drake May will be the number 2 overall pick. I compare Drake May to Justin Herbert. Caleb Williams is kind of a super unique prospect to where he's an above-average passer in terms of his accuracy, his arm strength, his touch, and he's ridiculously mobile. He is the full package. He is everything you want in a modern quarterback. Caleb Williams is an absolute super prospect for the NFL, and Drake May is basically Justin Herbert 2.0. Trading T. Higgins is not on my mind. If you want a receiver, go out and find your own, according to the Bengals GM. So, I mean, that's all well and good, but you're going to have to make a decision. You have Joe Burrow, who needs a massive contract. You have Jamar Chase, who needs a massive contract. And you have T. Higgins, who needs a massive contract. What are you going to do? Are you going to give all of them massive contracts and then convert it to signing bonus money to manipulate the cap? Or would they consider trading T. Higgins maybe next offseason? It seems pretty clear Josh McDaniels is looking to acquire a young QB he can develop into a franchise piece for the Vegas Raiders. So I guess what we can take from the Josh McDaniels interview is possibly, maybe passing on Aaron Rodgers, although you really don't want to say anything with Aaron Rodgers because we could literally get a report today that Aaron Rodgers is 1,000% going to be traded, and then the next day it'll come out that Aaron Rodgers is retiring, and then the day after that it'll come out that Aaron Rodgers is going back to the Packers. So I'm really done with talking about Aaron Rodgers because it's just reports that just contradict everything. But if Josh McDaniels is to be believed, maybe a good fit for the Raiders would be Will Levis or Anthony Richardson at that number 7 overall spot. Maybe they get lucky and CJ Stroud falls to them. Our stance on Zach hasn't changed. We feel like he has a very high ceiling. So, of course, the Jets are forced to say this no matter what. They really don't believe this because they're going out there and having multiple meetings with Derek Carr. They're telling Derek Carr he can go down as a first ballot Hall of Famer if he comes and leads the Jets to the playoffs. But they're trying to keep whatever value they have in Zach Wilson, whether they want to keep him or trade him. He's still on their roster, so they're going to try and continue to talk him up. Report the QB market was reset when the Browns gave Deshaun Watson the fully guaranteed deal. The NFLPA wants Lamar Jackson to stand his ground and get a similar deal. So, not surprising at all. It is a standoff right now between the NFL and Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is saying he's looking at the Deshaun Watson deal that happened last year. He's saying there's no reason I shouldn't get the same deal or more because I'm as good or better than Deshaun Watson. I have an MVP. And really, neither Deshaun Watson or Lamar Jackson have done much of anything in the playoffs. So that's what Lamar Jackson is thinking. And then the Ravens are thinking, they're saying the Browns went completely rogue. They gave Deshaun Watson an unrealistic contract. We're not going to do that. We're not going to make that mistake and give Lamar Jackson, who has been shown to be a little bit injury prone, that same type of deal. And we will see what ends up happening when it comes to that. And then we do have the Cardinals open to trading the number 3 overall pick. Of course, they are. Any team that has a top 5 pick that is not in the market for a quarterback, which right now the Cardinals are not in the market for a quarterback, they will be 1,000% willing to move that pick. But you have to also think, if Will Anderson is sitting there at number 3, it's going to be very hard to pass up on him. We will see. But guys, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.